Welcome to What the F***. I'm your host, Jim 2, also known as the Sunnyvale Streaker. Let's get a preview of tonight's show from Timothy Walton in our legal department. Timothy, what do we have in store for tonight's show?
Hello, Jim. On this episode of What the F***, we'll learn that historians predict the future and find that being around depressing people is depressing. Then we'll discuss weird American habits and exciting fields of study. Back to you, Jim.
Hey, thanks, Timothy. I'll see you at the end of the show. Hey, let's meet tonight's panel who think they're earning time off for community service. In the far chair, she's cuter than a baby harp seal, getting clubbed by an Inuit toddler. It's library worker Jenna Christ. In the middle chair, it's international woman of intrigue, Cynthia Gregory. She's so mysterious the Mayan civilization ended trying to figure her out. In between them, it's the host of KMET's only live show, John Wants Answers. It's John Bink. If probing questions was asphalt, people will watch him get laid on a freeway on a hot summer's day and hold their noses. Finally, joining us from an undisclosed remote location is attorney at law Alex Clark. If legal acumen was a courtroom, criminals would come in and out of him daily. Issue number 1, can you predict the future's path with just math? Numbers never lie, but can they see the future with a clear eye? Peter Turchin, a professor at the University of Connecticut, is the driving force behind a new field called cliodynamics, a study where scientists and mathematicians analyze history in the hopes of finding patterns they can use to predict the future. Scientists use math to crunch numbers now made available from the digitizing of statistical data to spot recurring patterns over time in hopes of anticipating the next recurrence. One example they use is the spikes in political violence that have occurred in the U.S. every 50 years, in 1870, 1920, and 1970, and possibly 2020. I think we have an example how they use this beneficially here. Yeah, hang on. Doesn't work for me yet, but anyway. Hey, Jenna, predicting the future with math. You buying this or not?
In the broad strokes, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not like what any one person is going to do, but you know, there were larger trends that tend to happen.
Right.
So yeah.
So you think this is a doable thing?
Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, I think there would be like variance, and like there was the 1820s spot where like there should have been a lot of violence, but there wasn't because there was prosperity. So I mean, there's variables that could make the interpretations moot.
You missed the run on the first bank of the United States in 1820, and the political crisis between Andrew Jackson and the bank and Nelson Biddle.
I was busy doing other things, like not being alive. Sorry.
Or the riot of the 6th-year anniversary of the War Battle of New Orleans.
I missed so much.
You missed so much. You fell asleep in history class, didn't you?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, but you're buying this, right?
Within reason, okay. Generally.
On a macro level, you're buying this.
Macro,
okay.
Totally.
All right, Cynthia, did you ever read Isaac Asimov's Foundation trilogy?
Actually, I did.
Okay, this sounds a lot like this, right?
Yeah, it sure does. But you know, I think mathematics always has propensity to error.
Right.
So you know, I think only time will tell. It might take us another few millennia to actually have collected enough data to know if these predictions are actually accurate. But you know, at the end of the day, all I really care about is, you know, do I know if I'm going to have a job tomorrow? Or, you know, I think you might be curious to know, you know, could these scientists predict when you're going to get laid next?
No, I think they said, after the sun goes nova.
Okay, all right. So we have a few millennia to actually collect some data, see if they could do the prediction correctly.
You need a data point. So you need a spike in the data.
Zero's a data point.
That's true.
Yeah, but you need a spike in the data. You know, because if it's all zeros, you just assume all zeros. But
you'll be spiked soon.
I'll be spiked soon. Is that it? All right. But so do you think this is more of? So you think this is actually a science and that they can spot the recurring pattern, or are these patterns just more coincidences?
No, I actually do believe that there are patterns, and there is enough data that you can kind of see some patterns. Just like you can look at climate data that we've collected by looking at core samples of ice that can go back thousands and thousands of years.
Actually, I think, millions.
Yeah, actually, I know I was listening to something yesterday on the radio where they said salt crystals can hold, in Salt Lake, the Salt Lake can actually hold things that are, 250 million years old, so they can get some different kinds of information there. So there's lots of data. The question is, so much data, can you process it, and do we have enough to really make a good prediction and validate it?
Okay, so you're buying this too.
Yeah,
hey,
I am actually.
John, what's your take?
I'm reminded of the Franklin Mint. They had some wise words, and I'll read them to you now. Past performance is not an indication of future potential values.
Okay,
So
so
I think-
you bunk them, right?
I don't think you can predict based on timelines. Like every 50 years this happens. I don't think you can predict based on that. I think there are economic cycles
Right.
that everything ties into economic cycles, I think.
Like a
lot.
business cycle, right?
When the economy is good and the general population is doing well,
Right.
you're going to see less violence. But as, there's tough times, you're going to see more crime. People got to, steal to feed their kids or something like that.
Well, that's true, but can you predict it before it happens? I think that's what we want to know, right?
As far as you can predict the economy, and I don't know how far that is.
Well, that's true. Hey, Alex, wherever you are, what's your take on this?
Jim, I really can't reveal where I am. I can only say the initials of where I'm located, LA. So it's actually quite a secret. And I'm also glad that you brought up the banking crisis of 1820s. That always brings up some cheap laughs. That's supposed to be a source of material. In any case, I'm really excited that you brought up the foundation because I'm actually kind of doing the whole Isaac Asimov look. I got the big mutton chops one, sort of proto mutton chops, and I got the big thick glasses. This is in commemoration of Isaac Asimov. It really speaks to my inner nerd. By the way, when I was getting beat up in 7th grade, if I may digress, in 7th, 8th grade back in Wisconsin in junior high, and I was reading the Foundation series, I never knew I was going to be a national well, this isn't a national television, but the 5 or 6 viewers who are going to see this, and I get to talk about the Foundation on television. This is amazing. So take that, jocks, So, I'm sorry, did you have a question at the end of this?
I actually did, but I kind of got lost in the image of you reading a book while you're getting a Melvin. That's actually pretty impressive. You can keep reading a book while some bully's giving you a Melvin. That's kind of a.
What's a Melvin, Jim?
Oh, you know as a nerd. Come on, do not feign ignorance, Mr. Smarty Pants, or lack of Smarty Pants over your forehead, guy. All right, Alex. I think you managed to filibuster the rest of the segment. So.
Yeah, use my load on that one.
Okay, from predicting the future to spreading ill humor. Issue number 2. If your mind is not at ease, can it spread like a disease? Dr. Gerald Hefnell and Jennifer Hames of the University of Notre Dame, go Ramblers, have published a new study that finds depression and the emotions associated with it can be contagious. They found that the gloomy mindset of students vulnerable to depression can be catching, making their friends more likely to suffer the same condition 6 months later. The reverse is also true. Those who were with friends not prone to depression experience decreases in their own levels of negative thinking. But you know what else reduces negative thinking? This.
In der Mitte am besten da.
Ja. Ich will nicht mal gucken, nicht lachen, dass es zu hart ist.
Nicht drauf?
Ja.
Motherfucker, fuck the fucking world, and my new band is called Sis Kill.
Yeah, it cures my depressive thoughts because it's more replaced with thoughts of pain. But all right, hey, Mr. Vink.
Yes.
Mood is contagious. Agree or disagree?
I remember in college, people would always be saying, "Hey man, you're harshing my mellow."
Well, you buying it?
Yeah. I mean, if you're with a bunch of downers all the time, how can you be happy?
Okay. Can you attest from personal experience if this is true or not?
I know people who are cynical and who are always cynical around you, and they're like annoying and bring you down, and you just talk smack about them when they're not there.
Okay, so you're buying this. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Cynthia, does this explain why women like moody men?
Well, I can't speak for all women.
Okay.
I can only speak for myself, but I like happy, optimistic people, and my circle of friends tend to be happy and optimistic.
Okay.
And
is that because you're happy and optimistic?
absolutely,
or do you
and I
bring...
attract happy and optimistic people. Very rarely do you see a kind of a grumpy person hang around me. At least they're not grumpy for long.
Okay. All right. All right, then, Jenna, just explain why married men tend to be so gloomy.
Because their wives are gloomy too? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. It's just an observation I've had.
Misery loves company. I guess. I have no idea.
But you buying this? You buying this thesis?
Well, yeah, like the others said, both positive and negative kind of feelings can affect the people around you. So, yeah.
What do you tend to spread to your friends then?
Horror and sadness.
Oh, okay. So you're the Debbie Downer of your group, right?
I don't know.
She will not get an invitation to my house.
There you go. Okay.
I haven't yet. See?
Hey, Alex.
True.
Your three roommates in college committed suicide. So what's your take on this?
Well, I always thought lawyers are kind of naturally gloomy people, cynical people. So, our profession, it's kind of a bummer of a profession. So, as to whether that makes us prone to illness, I think actually we thrive on kind of the gloominess. I don't know. Maybe Timothy will probably pipe in a little bit.
But that's how you got straight A's through undergrad, right?
I got straight A's?
Yeah,
no,
okay.
I got straight C's. That's why I went to law school.
That's pretty much it. Hey, I'll throw this out to the group in general. They use college roommates as their survey, as their sample. Do you think that's an accurately representative sample, or is it just kind of disproportionate?
No, it's disproportionate, for sure.
Okay. Do young people tend to be happier or sadder than the general population, in your opinion, John?
I couldn't say it, because you have some kids who are, like, getting drunk all the time and partying, and they seem kind of happy. And then there's the kids who are trying to do well in school, who seem to be sad.
What were you like then?
I was on the sad side, probably.
Okay.
I didn't get to party that much.
All right. Let's see here. Does this explain the saying "misery loves company"? I'll throw it out to the group.
Apparently.
All right. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Any last comments, Alex? We got about 30 seconds left for the segment.
No, I'm sort of depressed now.
Are you? But you're alone.
I am alone.
why
I
he's
didn't
depressed.
get invited to your show in person. I gotta be a remote.
Well, Jenna did put that restraining order in, so you have to keep you at least 400 feet away from her. So, all right, Alex. Don't worry, we'll get you back one of these times in person. Anyways, all right, on to our first break. And we're back from our first break. And by the way, the men's room toilet's a little overplugged. But anyway, issue number 3. Do habits of the USA befuddle those in the UK? A writer for the BBC, which I found out today is a government-sponsored media outlet in Britain, in addition to an acronym for one of my anatomical body parts, has a top 10 list of American habits that befuddle them. The list includes eating breakfast together, getting a doggy bag at restaurants, ordering large portions of food and drink, drinking milk, public displays of affection, whooping, spontaneously talking to strangers, sending personalized holiday cards, baking, and flossing your teeth. You know what didn't make the list? This.
Fastest hot dog shooter. Northwest, I've never seen nobody be able to do this. I can do it quick. Okay? I'm just saying.
Yeah, apparently swallowing spitting wieners back out doesn't befuddle the Brits at all, but who knows? All right.
That might have been a Brit.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, John, you're Canadian. Are these habits of Americans strange to you?
I consider Canadians to be halfway between American and British.
Right.
The only thing I do in that list is floss. I don't do any other things in that list.
Okay. But do you find the habits strange? Even though you don't do them, do you find them strange that other people do them?
The talking to strangers.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
You're
I don't
not into
understand that. No.
Okay.
Eating, the huge portions, not my thing.
Okay.
I don't get it.
All right.
The rest seem like normal. Like,
Okay.
why wouldn't you floss your teeth?
Well, maybe that's a comment on the Brits, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen their teeth?
Alex, you lived in a foreign country for a while the statute of limitations was about to expire on whatever charge you were with. What's your take on this?
That's very interesting. I did read this article like a month ago, and I found it quite fascinating because I lived in East Asia, and I had a lot of encounters with British people. Two areas that I thought was very interesting, although it was more because my wife is a mail-order bride, and she's from East Asia, Russia, and she thought two things was very strange about Americans was, one, talking to strangers unprompted, because people would just come up to you in the elevator, if you're in the elevator, and they'd start talking about their whole lives or the weather. And the other thing is whooping. I love to whoop. I assume this means like, woohoo, something like that, right? Like you're in the car and you're like excited about something. The first time I did that, my mail order bride, she was kind of surprised by my whooping. She was like, "Why did you do that?" She was kind of taken aback. So I don't think it's just British. I think it's actually most cultures find certain things on that list very baffling about Americans. We're mysterious people.
Okay, yeah. All right. I will go to the All-American girls. Jenna, what's your take on this as an American, allegedly?
Woo! Actually, the whooping thing, it's weird. It seems weird to me when I see other people doing it, and then like a situation comes up, and like you're like, woo! You're like, why did I do that? So I can understand both sides of that one.
All right. Okay.
But it was weird that they thought like drinking milk was strange, that they thought eating breakfast with your family was strange.
Yep. Does that say more about the Brits than it does about Americans?
Yeah, I guess. And they don't bake? Come on. I mean, what if you want like a muffin or something?
Oh, I thought that said they don't bathe. Okay. Okay. Well, Europeans, I don't think bathe as often as Americans. But Cynthia, as an international woman of intrigue, I know you've met people from all parts of the world. What's your take on these list of American habits?
Well, I think that the Brits have a problem. They just, first of all, I totally get why they don't get why we floss. Have you seen their teeth?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is they're upset because we are friendly to people, including strangers from other countries. I mean, what's wrong with being friendly? I mean, we've been accused of being arrogant, starting wars. People hate us because we're smart and we're wealthy. And they're upset when we try to make friends. You know what I say? F them.
Oh, so I have to bleep that. I have to bleep that in post there, Cynthia.
I'm sorry. I had to give you something else to do.
Do you kiss your mom with that mouth?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay, there you go. All right. So you know what surprised me? It didn't make the list. Metric system. I just thought that I thought they'd be befuddled. But maybe do the Brits have the imperial weights and measures?
No, they're metric.
They're metric.
It's only America that has.
They don't have the pint.
Miles. Well,
only on beers.
Yeah, they measure beers.
Right.
Yeah.
Or pounds. Isn't that their currency? The pound? Never mind.
The stone. They weigh people in stones.
Isn't that an imperial measurement?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. All right. Oh, well. All right. Hey, from habits that bewilder us to a wacky syllabus is. Anyways. Issue number 4, are those degrees a little wacky? LiveScience.com perused a list of degrees available at colleges and came up with their list of unusual degrees. The list includes puppetry from the University of Connecticut, professional nanny from Sullivan University in Kentucky, pop culture Bowling Green, which apparently does not have a bowling degree, gunsmithing at Lassen Community College, fermentation sciences at Appalachian State University, which I assume is how they make moonshine, Canadian studies at Duke, go Blue Demons, decision making at Indiana University, the Beatles at Liverpool Hope University in the UK, sex at the University of San Francisco State University, I got a PhD in that, and auctioneering at Harrisburg Area Community College. What major didn't make the list? This one. Woohoo! Wow. Hey, Cynthia, your ex-husband's a really talented guy, but I bet you he'd like to bring his work home with him, right?
Yes, he did, and we both enjoyed it.
Oh, indeed. All right. Hey, all right. So, weird majors, good thing or a bad thing, Cynthia?
I think weird majors are fine. I mean, there's a special interest group and a magazine for everything, so why not a college major? You know, I'm pretty confident that there's probably a comic book major out there. Mm-hmm. There's probably, Play-Doh modeling, probably even predicting the future using math. I bet that's a thing, too.
Probably good thing. Would you have picked any of these majors back when you were in college last year?
It's possible that I might have done puppetry, but just because I think that I have an attraction now in my later life to theater and the performing arts, and that might have been an interesting way to do expression of my artistic side.
I was afraid to say you're going to have a strange attraction to puppets, but okay, there you go.
Only Muppets.
Only Muppets.
Not puppets.
Hey, Alex, you're a lawyer. Would you have foregone your law degree in favor of one of these other majors?
You know what? Honestly, I actually think that I could have taken one of these as an undergrad, gotten better grades, and then gone to a better law school. So.
Anything in particular?
I don't know. Gunsmithing sounds like pop culture, sex. Actually, I don't know. Fermentation study sounds interesting. I could like do moonshine or that'd be probably that'd be like a good segue to being a lawyer. I'd be like the most popular person in law school.
There you go.
Still in my back of my room and everything. No bar review.
Brew your own stuff. There you go.
Brew my own still. Did I say that?
There you go.
Okay.
Jenna, let's see here. Do these the fact that these majors exist? Are they an indication that our colleges have jumped the shark, or are they what colleges are for?
I do wonder, like, what is the supply and demand of these things? You know, like, how much demand is there for puppetry, really?
I don't know. I'm hoping our fact checker will research that.
Fermentation studies, I think there's a lot of demand for that.
Okay.
But some of these other things, I don't know.
Or gunsmithing?
Yeah.
Being able to make your own gun is kind of important
That's
these days.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool skill to have.
Yeah.
But pop culture, I guess they go into advertising or something.
Yeah. Even though I will give the community colleges on this list a pass because I think they're more trade school majors. I would, but like welding or whatever. But
auctioneering.
Yeah, John. Well, what's your take on this?
I think a lot of these majors don't sound that crazy. I think a lot of them you can get a job with, except for the Beatles one. I understand.
Okay. Do you think you can get a job with pop culture?
Well, yeah, writers. I think entertainment writers take a course in that.
Sex.
Canadian studies.
Canadian studies. Why wouldn't you study Canadians? People study Europeans
because they're boring.
We have a very interesting history, full of strife and overcoming the odds of cold weather.
Really? Okay. Well, what about the sex major? What job do you imagine getting with a sex major?
Someone who's in health, like a health person.
Are you sure?
What if you're running the clinics for the sex workers? That'd be a good course to take.
There's a clinic for sex workers?
I'm sure. Yeah.
You mean prostitutes?
I didn't want to say that. There's many sex workers who need assistance, and someone who works in like a clinic.
That you're aware of, right? Are you speaking from first-hand experience?
I've saw the news.
Would your company, who I believe his name is prominently displayed on your shirt, would they hire anybody with any of these majors?
No.
Why don't you just go ahead and say no?
We're hiring a wide variety of people, ranging from marketing and sales to engineering.
But no sex majors, right?
No
puppetry majors?
I knew a girl who interned in puppetry.
Okay. And what's she doing now? Taking your order at Starbucks?
No, this puppetry intern is now working as engineering at Apple.
Well, there you go. Good for her. Yeah. All right, we are done with the segment. On to our second break. How we doing? And we're back from our second break, and now we're at the fact-checking stage of our show, and this is where we find out where we went wrong during the course of the show. And for that, we join Timothy Walton in the legal department. Hey, Timothy, how do we do today?
Well, you certainly all kept me very busy. There were a number of things that I needed to look into. Jim, I need to point out to you that the British currency is no longer the pound. It has been the euro for decades.
Wait a minute. I don't buy that. But okay.
I think they went euro.
No, I think he's pulling my leg.
I think not. You did ask me to look into demand for puppetry, and it turns out that there is a huge demand because America is constantly needing to install dictators in countries around the world.
Oh, so they'll end up joining the State Department then, right?
Exactly. It's a cushy government job.
Damn cushy government jobs.
Also, I need to point out, Alex, your grades would not have been better had you studied gunsmithing. Sorry.
No, but he probably got all straight A's because his roommates in college all committed suicide. Therefore, he got straight A's. Isn't that right?
I actually want to apologize to my law school. My law school wasn't that bad. I mean, the DeVry Law School in Grenada is not a bad school. So.
Aren't you on the cover of their alumni directory, Alex?
Very good one, Jim. Sorry, you don't have a comeback on that.
Yeah, there you go. What else we got, Timothy?
Well, we could speculate about whether his study of gunsmithing would have led to a higher degree of fatalities among his roommates.
Oh, that's true, but but he wasn't a gunsmith major, unfortunately. He was just moody.
If you say so.
What else you got?
I need to point out to Cynthia that people around the world don't hate Americans because of our brains and wealth. They love us because we're obnoxious.
It's a thin line between love and hate, I guess.
You would know.
You were just waiting for that. You were waiting for the echo to die just to listen to that. But actually, I would know. We got anything else, Timothy? We got about a minute and a half.
My research indicates that John does indeed bake.
Run that by us again.
John claims not to have done any of the things on the list except flossing.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so you're not buying that?
No. In fact, my research indicates that he did plenty of partying when he was younger, and he did indeed bake.
Oh, man. Dang echo. I couldn't hear that at all, Timothy. He did plenty of what? Carbying? What? Partying. Oh, he was a party animal.
I think he's suggesting I baked brownies with marijuana inside it, or the Mary Jane.
Oh.
And then I got high from eating the brownies. That's what he's
Is
suggesting.
is that a confession, though?
No. I'm just
coding
the echo.
I bet you drank milk with it, too.
Well, if you have brownies, you gotta have milk, right?
That's what I'm saying.
See, he admits it.
Do you know that only white people can drink milk?
No,
What?
I did not know that.
Everyone else is lactose intolerant.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, Timothy, we got 30 seconds left. What else? You got any? You got whatever else you got? Smoke them.
Well, Alex said that being a lawyer is a bummer of a profession. I would just like to point out that being a legal secretary is even more of a bummer of a profession.
That's right. You have to work underneath lawyers. Hey, anyways, hey, Timothy, we are out of time. So, hey, for anybody who wants to follow us or send us comments, email, Twitter, and I think Facebook eventually will get underneath the screen somehow. So, otherwise, thank you for watching. Later.